Let's talk about the time where I was really struggling to get out of bed in the morning. I was spending the day filling up paperwork that meant nothing while the sun was shining outside. And I was coming home feeling so exhausted that I had no energy for my worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also for my daughter. And it's during that time, at the age of 28, that I realized I had to give my notice. Even though I was terrified because I didn't have a lot of savings and I did not know what was coming up, it felt like then was the right time. But to be honest, there were at least 5 clear signs that I could have made that decision a lot earlier before that breaking point. And if you're watching this video, you're probably experiencing some of those signs. So I wanted to lay them out for you so that you can realize and decide whether or not it's time for you to leave your career in your 9 to 5 and to make a transition into creating your coaching business. Assalamu alaikum, beautiful. If you're new here, my name is Sumaya. I'm the founder of The Healed Sister, and I help Muslim women transition from unfulfilling day jobs to becoming confident coaches who build businesses who are aligned with their values and their life. Before we dive into the topic of today's video, if you are someone who's considering coaching and wondering if it's going to be your path to freedom, I created something specifically for you. It's called the Clarity Check. It's a 20-minute video that walks you through the 3 areas that you need to master in order to become a successful coaching business owner. And it helps you assess what you already have in terms of skills and experience and what's missing. Just comment clarity under this video and I'll send you the link to get your free 20-minute training, inshallah. Now, let's talk about the 5 signs that it might be time for you to quit your career and do something else, particularly creating a coaching business. Sign number 1, you've always struggled to stay happy as an employee. Now, let me tell you something. This is me. I've always known that I wanted to work for myself since I was a teenager. I did pursue studies and a bachelor degree in international marketing, but only with the intention of one day starting my business. So every time I was in the position of working for someone, at the beginning, I was excited, but after a few weeks, I was over it. And I'm sorry to all my employers, but it was not so much to do with them and the job. It was more to do with the fact that one of my strongest values is to be free and independent. And growing up, I watched my parents, especially my mom, who was a cleaner, coming home tired and miserable every single day. And I just couldn't understand why everyone would be so comfortable and okay with giving the majority of their time for a salary that would barely cover our needs. We never did anything fun as a family because money was always tight. And if, like me, you're the type of woman who's never been happy as an employee, if you always daydream about being free with your time and doing something exciting and meaningful, this isn't just a phase. This desire that you have is probably never going to fade. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to just live with the discomfort of having the desire in you that's calling you and pushing you to do something about it? Or are you actually going to do something about it? So the first time that it might be time to leave and make a plan to create something different for yourself is that you never really fit into the role of the employee, no matter how hard you try. Sign number 2 that it might be time to leave your career is that your job is actually taking you away from what truly matters for you. From an Islamic perspective, we need to ask ourselves the right questions. If your job is taking you away from your duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your kids, your husband, your family, is it really worth holding on to? When I was employed in jobs that were draining me, it wasn't just the physical drain that was taking me away from what was important to me. It was also the psychological drain of it, the emotional and mental soul-sucking effect that it had on me. And what that would do is almost put me in that situation where I felt like I was depressed most of the time because I wasn't living in alignment with my purpose. And I know it sounds so cheesy to say that, but it's true. And you know it when you are. living a purposeful life, when you're doing something meaningful that actually matters to you, you feel the difference. And when you're not, you feel tired all the time. You're always burnt out. You're exhausted physically. And it's really hard to show up in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's hard to seek knowledge. It's hard to make time for Him and to be present mentally for your kids as well, or for your family members. All of this impacts you on a general basis, and I just find it, for me, impossible to conceive a life where this would be my norm. I need to know that my energy is put into something that actually multiplies it, rather than sucks it into a hole and never gives it back to me. Sign number 3 that it might be time to change career and start your own business is that you're doing meaningless work that doesn't help anyone. I remember spending my days filling out paperwork that I barely understood, while people came into the community center needing help and not being able to actually support them, because the politics and the processes in those charities and organizations is that the paperwork is more important than the help itself, because the people who give you the money want to see the paperwork rather than the results that you're providing people, subhanAllah. So when your work feels pointless and you know you could be making a real difference somewhere else in a different position, or if you had your own business, that's a massive sign that you were not created to waste your gifts or to do busy work. So if you're just tired of the task that you're involved in your day-to-day life, if you feel like it doesn't mean anything to you anymore, it's not making an impact around you, then what if you had that for yourself? What if you built a business that allowed you to actually see firsthand what your skills and your strength can create in someone else's lives? Imagine how fulfilling that is, and that is possible. Sign number 4 that it might be really time to leave your career and start your coaching business is the lack of passion and excitement that you're experiencing in your life. So earlier we've mentioned that drain physically and emotionally, but I really want to emphasize on this feeling that you're not who you used to be at some point in your life, and you're kind of reminiscing on an old you who was excited about life at some point. And you find it hard to step back into that because of your job and because of the routine that you've been stuck in for a few months or a few years. And it seems like your job has such a big impact on your mental health that you're almost stuck in this vicious cycle of not knowing how to get out of this depressive episode that you're in. I mentioned it at the beginning of this video, but for me it was really real that I could not get out of bed in the morning. Spending whole days in an office while the sun was shining outside, then coming home with zero energy for the people and activities that brought me joy, that was a real struggle. So if you are at this point where you're struggling to find passion and excitement, it's not you the problem. It's what's taking that energy and that time away from you. And sign number 5 that it might be time to leave your career and start your coaching business is that you are watching this video. So you're already somehow taking action towards creating a different life for yourself, which means that inside of you there's a part that truly believes and has hope that this is possible and that Allah can make it happen for you. So it means you have already passed the point where you're just dreaming about it, because now you've started actually researching what it would look like for you to do this, to take that step, to create a life where you are actually more in control of your time and your energy. From being in the research zone to being in the doing zone, there's actually so little steps to take. I know some of my trainees, they've literally just come across my content out of the blue. They didn't have a deep idea about what they wanted to do. It wasn't even about coaching, but they were scrolling on Instagram, came across a reel. Next thing you know, they are on the website looking at what the certification is about, the coaching certification that I offer. And then they apply for it and they find themselves enrolled and their lives have completely changed. And I'm thinking about one of our trainees who was in a 9-to-5 for 20 years, who started coaching with us within the Thriving Coach certification, and who managed to completely change her life by quitting her 9 to 5, moving into a different country, being able to provide for her family in a way that she had never been able to, being able to practice her deen in a way that she was never able to. So everything can change in a heartbeat, especially when you've already started the thinking process and the researching process, because that's step 2. Thinking is step 1. Step 2 is research things. Step 3 is doing something about it. And I want you to think about, what's the worst that can happen if I did something about this nudge that I have within me? What is the worst that can happen? And what's the best thing that can happen? The transformation that you could experience from taking this risk is not only going to be physical, it's going to be emotional, spiritual, mental. The fulfillment of it is going to impact your entire life. So it is worth really considering taking that step. Now remember, if all of this is speaking to you and you want to know more about what coaching is about and what it looks like to create a coaching business, then make sure to ask for my clarity check training by commenting clarity under this video, and you'll learn about the 3 things that you need to master in order to be successful in this field, what you are missing right now and what you already have. So just comment clarity under this video. Now, if I was to give you some practical advice, what's important to understand is that I'm not telling you to quit tomorrow, not at all, trust me. I understand the fear of doing that. I was terrified when I gave my notice because I didn't have much money saved. Although I had planned on saving 6 months of monthly expenses, I didn't follow the plan because I was too impatient. But alhamdulillah, it turned out to be the best thing that I did, because I knew that no matter what happened, I would make it work. And I trusted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would provide for me. I have been homeless and broke before, so that also helps, because I know that I can face literally any difficulty and Allah is going to be there and He's going to carry me through it. Here is what I want you to do if you are in this space where you are seriously considering changing career, starting your coaching business. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to quit right now. Just start thinking about what it would look like to create a coaching business that you have on the side, just like I did for months. I was coaching, studying to become a coach, and I was still in my 9 to 5 so that I could have that safety net until I generated a decent income from my coaching business. The second thing that you want to do is talk to people who have taken the leap. See if their story resonates with you and give coaching a try without quitting. Because as I said, it's wiser to wait until you generate an income from the coaching on the side than quitting without knowing. Coaching is really going to be for you 100%. So don't be irrational either. Do this the right way. There is an in-between where you can do both at the beginning until you have the confidence and the skills to go full-on coaching. Now, if the next question that you're asking yourself is what coaching certification is right for me and how should I choose, then definitely check my video on that topic. It will be very helpful. And let me know in the comments below, what are your reasons for feeling like it's time for you to do something else with your life? Because I think we all have different experiences, although they're very similar. But I'm curious to know what's telling you within yourself right now that you can't keep on going the way that you have been for the past few years or few months. I can't wait to hear your stories in the comments, inshallah. I will see you in the next video. You take care of yourself, beautiful. Ma salama.